Hey guys, how you doing? Oh, I don't hear you.
So you can see that we have the amazing persons with us on this call. GM, everybody, welcome to today's live stream. It's going to be an exciting one, so it's definitely something you should be on the lookout for and make sure that you don't miss out. Okay, so very quickly, why we are on this call already? Let me just confirm everybody can hear me. Gift, can you hear me? Okay, all
I
right.
can hear you. Yeah, I hear
Santi,
you.
can you hear me?
Can you hear
Okay,
me?
all right, beautiful. Yes, loud and clear.
Okay.
Okay, Juju boy can hear me. All right, everybody is here. So the full gang is already here. So if you are on this call already, I want you to go ahead and of course start share the live stream so that other persons can join in. It's going to be, we'll try to make this call as short as possible, but then it's also going to be very exciting. So go ahead and share the stream. I'm doing that on my own end. I'm sharing to my WhatsApp. I'm sharing to all my fans around the globe, everywhere in the world, so they can join this call and enjoy this exciting experience with us. Let me quickly just switch my lights. All right, so let's do that. 2 minutes. We do that, and then we get into why we are here. All right, let's do that. If you're on this call, everybody, go ahead. Okay, yeah, 12 people on this call. So last time, the last call we had 300 plus. About I think we are clocking 400. We had about 400 persons join the call live. With us. So today, I want to see what we can do, what the number will look like today. Let's see if we can have maybe 1,000. Last time I was aiming for like 100, and you guys surprised me with 300 plus. This time I think I have to raise the bar high. I'm aiming for like 1,000 persons live on this call. So you guys should like do like 3K. Let's have 3,000 persons on this call. It's possible. So yeah, I mean we have the leagues guys here. So definitely you should be excited to hear what is going on. We have the global devil here. So definitely this call we should be having, if possible, say 10,000 persons live on this call. So go ahead and repost this, quote the tweet, and tell everybody to join in. Tell all your fans, tell even your parents to join in, because the things that we're talking about, even your parents will need it. So invite everybody, uncles, relatives. In the next 2 minutes, let's do that. All right. Yeah, I'm doing that from my end. I've invited all my family people and invited everybody. My relationship, everybody have to be here live on this call. All right. So while we are doing that, let's just do a quick introduction and just run it through, because I know there are a lot of persons who are on this call that might not be really conversant with the faces they are seeing. So let's just run it up. Gifty, Juju Boy, then Santiago, and then okay. Let me begin. Let me begin. I think I'm like the last one in this place right now, so I'm just going to run it from myself. So yes, welcome everybody. My name is Danny Amara, and an intern here at Lisk for Lighting Founders here at Lisk, and it's cool to know that I'm the one hosting everybody here, and also you guys that are watching. So thank you very much for joining. I'm an amazing creator. I make really cool videos, and aside from that, I used to be a designer, but now I'm here doing great stuff with links, and I'm really super excited for this. So yes, and it's also very important to highlight that I'm a loud introvert. I'm introverted, but a loud one. So when it's time for me to be outside, I want to be outside and really connect with as many persons as I can. So over to you, Gifty. Yeah, quick intro, and then we'll run it up from there.
Okay, all right then. GM everybody. My name is Intikon, ecosystem ambassador facing protocol. Um, I basically spotlight on that and bring people builders in that's how to build on this. And it's nice to be here with all of you to discuss with you. I hope we have fun. Thank you.
All right, Juju boy.
Hi guys, my name is Juboy. growth ambassador with Lisk. Basically, my job is anything that makes Lisk grow. I'm helping startups build on Lisk. I'm helping businesses gain traction, helping developers learn how to deploy on Lisk, and of course, getting users to use products built on Lisk. So I'm always excited to be on your sessions, and I'm looking forward to having fun with the team here. Yeah.
All right, Santiago, over to you.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So, hi, everyone. I'm Santiago. I'm currently working at Lisk for almost a year. Um, when people ask me about my role, I don't know what to answer because I don't like to just focus on one thing. So I will say that I'm doing everything at Lisk. Like sometimes developer relations, sometimes Africa DevRel, sometimes Latam lead. So yeah, I'm just doing a little bit of everything at Lisk right now, and I really enjoy working at Lisk, and I really love the community. So thank you for having this initiative, Danny, as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, let me quickly highlight as well that for persons who are joining from X, there are also persons who are joining on YouTube. I'm sharing this to my YouTube channel as well. So if you are watching this and you don't like X, you can go to YouTube and see stream this. You'll be enjoying from there as well. So thank you very much. I'm super excited to have everyone here. I mean, on the ground, Leaks has been on and on everywhere. Even why it has ended, everybody's still talking about it. Today, people are still talking about it. People are still posting these are my major highlights. This is that. For me, I'm gifted that we're not there present. I'm not alone in this, and every other person that we're not there present. Can you guys give us first a whole run through of the experience before we now begin to touch down on some specific things? A whole run through of the experience, and I mean, I don't want us to go into like the very very serious things here. Let's talk about the journey, the travel journey for you, Juju. But we're just going to begin how the travel was for you, moving, how many hours you had to spend on the road before getting there. Then for you, Santiago, we'll just talk about give us a whole quick overview of your whole African tour, how it has been before even heading to eat safari for on the ground. So yeah, Juju boy, let's begin with you.
Okay, cool. So it's actually be nice to know that we actually originally joined Santiago on the Lisk Africa tour before on the ground with Lisk. So we were all over Nigeria first, and then some of you guys went around West Africa and then down to East Africa. But for me, well, I and the team we left Nigeria. It was approximately 6 hours flight from Lagos, but I had to join from Abuja because I'm based in Abuja. So I flew down to Lagos first, and then from Lagos to Nairobi was a 5 hour 30 minutes or so flight. And I didn't realize. I thought I was the only one. Okay, I thought it was just me and Brio, but surprisingly enough, there were like six of us coming from Nigeria to Nairobi
Wow.
on the same flight, and we weren't aware of it until we landed. Um, when I realized that West Africa was very, very different from
Wow.
East Africa, was when they started serving us food on the plane. And I just didn't know what to make of the food. It was nice, but it was different from everything I've had, and the service on the plane was also good. So when we landed, we went through immigration, we checked our passports. It was pretty much easy because Kenya has made Nigeria sort of visa free for a short stay. So we went through immigration, and then after immigration, that was when we met the rest of the team. There were like I think 6 or 7 of us, me, Brill, Bayomi, Bolu. We're just like 7 of us, and we already had the cab guys who were coming to take us. So they had placards that was written on the ground with Lisk. So they were putting it up and they all out to them.
Mm,
So they took us from. We landed late, so we landed around 9 p.m. So the dinner that was on the first day though. So they had already had the dinner on the first day. They took us to the hotel, and when we got there, Ariane was waiting for us at the lobby. Ariane, Josh, and Gideon were waiting for us at the lobby, and then we came in. They gave us a warm welcome. They were like, "Sorry, you guys already missed the dinner, but there'll be food served to your rooms." So it was cool. We checked in. The rooms were nice, awesome, perfect. Um, It was, I think, it was at Hyatt Regency, so it was a 16-story building. I was on the ninth floor, and the view was cool, cozy and all. But then Nairobi is a very cold place, and I didn't properly plan for that. I had like two jackets with me, but like I could have had more. It was very very cold. The moment we flew into their airspace, you could tell from inside the plane that we are entering a very very cold region. So Nairobi is on the highland. It's like on the mountain, so it's really really cold. The highlight for me was the waking up very early because Ariane doesn't play with her time. Ariane is, by the way, is our marketing lead, but she was basically the one putting together the whole itinerary where we go to, how much time we spend there, what we do, and she doesn't play with her time. Ariane is a very very fun person to be around, but don't play with her time. I repeat, don't play with her time. So we usually get up very, very early. We go down to the lobby, we pick up our meals. She had already packaged our takeout boxes, coffee, some snacks, some food, some fruits. There was always fruit, there was always banana, apple, something. So the next day we were out to the national park, National Nairobi Park, where we went to spot animals. So we got there, we started by seeing some baboons. We saw literally everything: crocodiles, giraffe, lions, um, buffaloes. Literally, it was a 3 hour tour, 3 or 4 hours or so. So we had our lunch boxes inside the car, so you could eat in there, but you don't get down on the car for any reason. So we're just taking pictures, spotting animals, and just having fun. And after that, we went to Carnival. Fun fact: Carnival is literally, so Kenya is, it's kind of tricky because they have this wildlife conservatory, which basically has a strong policy around poaching or killing animals recklessly. But at the same time, they have like very, very high level restaurants where you could eat really, really um, nice, have a taste of nice wildlife cuisine. So at the carnival, it's a very fun experience. Like when you get there, you on your table, when you start eating, they serve you everything that they have, and they only stop eating when you are tired. So they have a flag on the table. When everybody on the table is tired, you take down the flag. If you don't take down the flag, they keep bringing meat. So
Ah,
the delicacy at the carnival is just meat. No vegetarians. Just keep eating meat. They'll bring crocodile. They'll bring ostrich. They gave me one thing. They said it's ox balls, and I don't know. Some people enjoyed it, but I regretted tasting that thing. It's actually the real life balls of an ox, and for me, it's terrible. So they keep bringing meat on you until you are tired and you take down your flag. So initially we're like, now Niger boys now, we are not taking down any flag. These people will run for us. But they had enough of everything. They had anything you can think of: beef, chicken, crocodile, ostrich. It remained dinosaur. It was only dinosaur that I did not see on the menu, but it was fun. And after that, we had a time out and then we're home. So every day we had activities when we had to. On the second day, we started having conferences and roundtables and discussions. Like you already know, the reason for us going to Kenya, for going to Nairobi, and then joining Safari was for everybody in the Lisk ecosystem to sort of bond and get to know each other better. For instance, I was talking to the guys from DigitPay on Telegram, and we were just like trying to work out integrations with Lisk until I landed in Nairobi and I realized I was sitting next to the CEO of DigitPay, which was Somto, and we had a really good fun time together, right? So that process of having to see each other face to face, know the problems we are all facing, how do we fix them, how do we do better instead of like being on Telegram or being online and texting and chatting. It was an opportunity for us to sit down and be like, um, what are your business needs? How do we get to solve your problems better? How do we get to move forward? How do we get to integrate? And that was what happened. So the few days after that were basically for us to have, we had a media chat, we had a presentation, we had demo days, we had roundtable discussions, and then we joined the train ride to. That one it's an entirely different story altogether. I think Santiago will talk about that. Had a 6 hour train ride to Mombasa and then Kilifi. So it was a fun experience. We definitely needed that in the Lisk ecosystem, and I think more people should try that. Team building and team bonding is very essential to the success of any company, not just blockchain related companies. Always get to meet the people building the services. So once you have the people figured out, once you have the people working in synergy, working together, collaborating seamlessly, then trust me, every other thing will thrive. So that's just like, I hope I didn't take too much of your time, but that's basically what the experience was.
Yeah, wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Like quick insight. I mean, it's a good experience. One of the things that I was on an X space and they were talking about the Accra experience, and I was like telling the person on the call that through my time while I was in Eat Accra, the only thing I know I ate, I was mostly fasting. For the rest of the time, I was just eating bread and chicken and cooked egg. Because that's like the only thing I could take there. Every other thing that they were serving us, oh my God, it was an experience. And I'm like, how are these guys surviving with this food? You guys come to Nigeria and eat good food. I don't understand what you guys are serving us. Imagine you are eating Chineke. I can't imagine you eating the balls. Like, oh my god, that's an experience indeed. That's an experience, man. So yes, just before Satya will come in to speak. So while you are talking, I'm just going to put it that your talk time has taken us to 107 persons live on this call now. So I believe that when Santiago starts talking, we are going to see 1,000 persons on this call. So yeah, over to you, Santiago. I'm not sure.
Thank you, Danny. So you want me to kind of tell about my personal experience with the Lisk Africa tour?
Yes, yes. Just run us through the whole journey. Not let's not get into like the main lessons and real time things that actually happen. We'll get into that shortly. But just run us through your whole travel and the whole experience, what you've seen and what you've experienced through this journey. Yeah.
Perfect. So what I will say that I experienced is a flat ass. That's the main outcome of everything, of being seated in airplanes and cars all over Nigeria. So I started everything in Enugu. It was like a 25 hours, 26 to be able to get to Enugu from Colombia, going to US, and then from the US to Lagos, and then from Lagos I flew to Enugu. It was a really long, yeah, long 26 hours flying there. Then I arrived at the Nugu. Kevin and Miracle picked me up there. It was a great welcoming and first impression of a different city of Lagos, because it was the first time that I was going to Nigeria outside of Lagos. So it was great. Then I was able to meet Gifty. I spent there like a week more or less, and it was amazing. Honestly, the experience at the Nugu was great. I met you there too. Um, there was a lot of people in Enugu, so I really enjoyed that. After Enugu, where did I go after Enugu? I think that was just that was Abuja. I think it was a I even forgot now. So I think after Enugu,
Yeah,
oh I flew to
I think you went to
Abuja.
Kaduna or
I flew to Abuja. Yeah, 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 now I remember. I
okay.
took a flight to Abuja. Yeah, then Tete was waiting for me in Abuja. Now I remember. I actually stay at the Tete's house because I really wanted to spend. I like to spend time with people, right? So me going to a hotel in Abuja, I think that was not the main purpose of this Africa tour. The main purpose of this was me spending time with everyone. So I asked Tete like, "Hey, can I stay with you?" And then his brother gave me his room for that date for that night. So I stay at the Tete's house with his wife and Tete. They give me great food in there, but I asked to not be spicy. That's always my request everywhere in West Africa, no spicy food. So yeah, I was really lucky to stay with the Tete. I was doing a meetup in Abuja. Then the next day, I got a driver to go to Kaduna, and that was a long drive. I mean, it was not bad. I think it was like 4, 5, 6 hours. I don't remember, but it was not bad at all. It was a good road. Then from Kaduna, I took the car to Jos, and that was the real issue. I think that was the real problem. Driving from Kaduna to Jos was not great. I wouldn't recommend that. Um, yeah, really bad road, lot of traffic sometimes. So I wouldn't recommend that. I will take a flight next time. But then when I arrived to Jos, it was amazing. People in Jos, the weather in Jos was my favorite one because I like more like cold weathers. So yeah, and Jos, spicy food with nice place to stay. I noticed that Jos is kind of touristic in Nigeria. It was really interesting to see that because some people want to spend time. What we do in Colombia is that we go to a place that is hot with a swimming pool or whatever, or we go to the sea where it's hot. But then in Nigeria, people go to Jos. I remember a tuk-tuk driver telling me when people go to the UK or Canada or places like that, they come to just to get used to the cold first, and then they go to the UK. And that was interesting to see that. So yeah, just the community was also great. The event was amazing. What I really like about all these places is that they always have a hub, that they always kind of gather, people always visit. Yeah, and then after just I ended up in Ikorodu in Lagos. Lagos is always great. Traffic is always chaotic, but Web3 Bridge is amazing. I feel really. I even consider a couple of times getting like a piece of land close to Web3 Bridge. That's something that, yeah, maybe when I'm rich, maybe I will do that. But yeah, sometimes I ask Ayo like, hey Ayo, how much it costs like to have a piece of land or build a house here? It would be nice to have something there because something that I noticed. So let me tell you something that I learned is that human change can be driven by three different things: by coaching, by consistency and commitment, and by community. And then when I was watching this video, it was like a podcast. The third one of driving change by community is that when you join a certain community, you want to feel part of that identity, and then you will change to be part of that, right? So if you, I don't know, if you sit with five developers, then you will become the sixth developer, right? Because that's the community and you want to belong to that community. And then that makes sense that when people go to Web3 Bridge, when people go to Ikorodu, it's just a community that everyone just lifts each other. So that's what I noticed when I was in Ikorodu and spending time there. I feel like working more. I feel like working until 2 a.m. I feel like waking up early. I feel like doing a lot of things because I was part of that community. So that makes sense. That's why when people go to Ikorodu, you can feel that change, you can feel that energy because everyone is just pushing. So that was really interesting as well to feel it. Then after that I went to eat Accra is nice, always great community in Ghana. It was nice to see the people that I met from last year. That was my first African country for the Africa tour last year, so it was nice to go back there to see how people last year, when I was giving some workshops, that was their first Web3 workshop, and now some of them are already uh, founders or developers. Like the best example is LearnWay app. Kwaku was joining one of these workshops last year, and now he's having LearnWay app. He raised money. He's doing great now. So I'm really happy to see people like that, and to see the growth of people from year one to year two. I mean, from my first year last year, this is the second year, and then let's see what's coming from for year three next year as well. Because of course I'm planning to be in Africa again. Then after Accra, yeah, we went to eat safari, to this on the ground with Lisk that you guys shared the whole experience. I've been in Kenya like 6 times, so Kenya is already really familiar for me. I really like Kenya too. But then yeah, then after that, then off topic a little bit. I took a week of holidays. Then I went to Cameroon, Central African Republic. Drove like I was in a car and boats for more than 20 hours, 25 hours just to go and see gorillas. And I spent really good time in these French speaking countries. And I really enjoyed that. I need to learn some French. Um, yeah, then after that, now I came to Europe. I'm in Finland right now. That's why I'm the only one with a jacket in this live. But yeah, that was my whole experience for this third Africa tour that I did this year, and 2 months in Africa. Thank you, Danny.
All right, thank you very much for sharing that. I mean, this is a lot of experience. You've been touring and touring, and of course, we are still waiting for like the whole documentation and everything from your whole Africa tour. We know it will definitely be a good watch, so we are keeping an eye out for that. And I'm taking the front row seats already to watch all of that experience. So yeah, very quickly, let's just dive a little bit into it. We've already used about 25 minutes to talk about the whole journey. Let's now talk about on the ground with Lisk. What okay, we already know Juju Boy highlighted a little bit of the main reason why on the ground with Lisk happened, which is to just have everybody in the Lisk ecosystem come together and build that bond and synergy. But then let me begin from you again, Juju Boy. What will you say we have achieved, or the Lisk ecosystem has achieved from having this on the ground with Lisk? What was the major goal, and will you say that it was achieved by through the experience you've had on the ground with Lisk? I mean, could you give us one or two things that happened there, and then yeah, more to come on that.
Okay, so the main goal for me was, getting to know each other. And there's one thing about when two people get to know themselves better, it's just easier for them to agree on something. And when you agree on something, it's easier to work together. Right. So I'll give you a practical example. So for those who have been active in the Lisk DAO, in the time past, I've really been a very, very active person in the Lisk DAO. And there's this particular person in the Lisk DAO. His name is Aziz. He's actually one of the DAO council members, DAO review council members. And there was a time in the DAO where when we were literally saying the same thing, we were agreeing on the same point, but we were actually arguing with each other, right? So I met Aziz on the train. Okay, I met Aziz on the round table on the day of the round table discussion, and I was just sitting next to Aziz. He didn't know it was me, but I knew it was him anyways, because I was having a new look with the cap and no dreadlocks and all. So when I walked up to him and I was like, Aziz, it's Juju boy, and he was like, you're always, tackling me on the DAO. And I was like, so we started discussing what went on in the DAO. And it turned out that we were all along, we're actually on the same page, but it was just loss of context. So when you talk face to face to somebody and you are seeing their facial expression and you are hearing the tone of their voice and you're actually discussing with them, it carries a lot more weight, a lot more context versus when you are typing text. So when you are reading someone's text, you are reading it in your own voice. You are reading it, you are
Yeah,
understanding it with the tone in your head and not the tone of their voice, right? So sometimes you're actually on the same page, you're actually saying the same thing, but for some reason we don't even realize that and we feel like we are on opposing sides. So I spent the whole time with Aziz, from the panel, from the roundtable discussions to the whole 6 hour train ride from Nairobi to Kilifi, and we had a super amazing time. And after that experience, obviously met at East Safari and then partied together, of course. And the whole time, whenever we remember it, we're like, Aziz, why exactly were we always cat and dogs on the dial? Right? Because all the time in the DAO, we had actually been about the same thing. We've always wanted the same thing. We just didn't realize that this other person wanted the same thing that I wanted. Right? Another example is something that will become more public over time is the way when we had this session where the team and all the founders had a roundtable. It was at Dominic's apartment, and we were basically just talking. There were no cameras, no recordings. You would hardly see a picture of that particular session on the internet. But we did have that session, and it was a very transparent session where we were able to say why what are your problems, what are the problems you're facing, what are the issues that your startup is facing currently, that you've not been able to communicate via social media or Twitter or Telegram. Say it, talk to everybody's looking at each other, right? So some people were like, oh, I sent you a proposal, you didn't respond on time. You are looking at the person, you're telling them to their face, why didn't you respond? Why didn't you respond to why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And then we're having a conversation. And one of the results that came out of that was we saw most of, not most, all of the um, payment processing, payment rail startups, they were finding ways to work together. This is something we are going to see being implemented in the future, in the nearest future. So we saw Digit Pay keying into Paid and Paid keying into Aza. And it's a seamless ecosystem where everybody who is using stable coins on Lisk is able to leverage the the community and mind share of the other startup, since we are all processing
yeah,
payments. So these are things you would never get unless you have everybody in the same room. So these I've given you two examples of where being in the same room, team building, bonding time, and actually being able to talk. Okay, what are the values? What are the values you have? How are you processing your payments? How are you able to be in Kenya and you are processing payments in Uganda? You're processing payments in Nigeria. How do we work so that instead of giving outside market share to other startups and other ecosystems, since I'm already in Nigeria and you're in Kenya, we can leverage each other. I process your payments in Naira and you process mine in Kenyan shillings, things like that.
Yeah.
So that was the highlight for me. We were able to figure out better ways to work together, and that's where obviously the whole topic of synergy and collaboration comes from. This ecosystem, we can do one person can do 1,000, but two-person can do 10,000. So we are
That's
amplifying our ability by just working together.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. So there's something I always love to say about collaboration. I've said it in a couple of my videos in the past, and I love to say it everywhere I go. I would say that if you want to play the domination game, you have to. The best way to play it is by collaboration. If you want to dominate, have more impact, global, impact, have more persons really seeing what you are building. You do that by collaboration. If you are doing it alone, I mean, you're going to be restricted. You can only do a few things, alone. But then you want to really have that massive impact, you have to do it by collaboration. So yeah, I mean, it definitely was a beautiful experience. So before I throw my question to Santiago and then give to probably will ask a question or say something, let me quickly say. So I'm dropping a tweet bit now, guys, from this call. I'm dropping a tweet now, and what I want you to do is I want you to screenshot your view right now. Just screenshot it, don't leave the call. Screenshot what you are seeing while you're watching this session. And after that, you are going to see, I'm just going to go ahead and pin it. You are going to, if you go to my profile, you're going to see a pinned post. Go ahead and just add your own view under, you can quote it or you can just add it in the comments. Just go ahead and add it somewhere what you are seeing while you're on this call. I want us to just see all of that and still put out the word. So yeah, Santiago, for you, very quickly, we're working with time. So from this whole experience now, what I want you now to give us what you think, or not just what you think, what things that we should expect as the whole ecosystem, looking out for both persons who are just hearing about leaks for the first time, from the whole experience on the ground. What should we look out for? What should we anticipate? What should we expect? What are the next things we should look out for? What should we brace ourselves for? Because definitely, I know there are great things that will be shipped out in the coming days and weeks and months. So, but then just give us a little bit of a snippet from the whole experience, what everyone should definitely put their eyes out for in the coming days. Yeah.
Great question, Danny. I think the most important that we have been doing for the past 2 or 3 months is listen to people. So by listening to people, we are able to build something together, right? Instead of us coming with ideas or strategies, and we need to do it this way. I feel that having these in-person interactions with the founders, with the developers, with the community, even with people from other ecosystems, has helped us a lot to build for everyone, because at the end we don't want to build for Lisk and then people join us. I feel that we need to build for everyone, and then we can together shape the ecosystem. So maybe some of the things that I will mention is a lot of more in-person activities, right? Like right now we are having in Argentina, Edge City, the Lisk founders emerging markets residency in Patagonia. So we are going to have a 1 month program for, this is kind of to be discussed, but I would say that more or less something like three African founders, three founders from Southeast Asia, and then six or seven from Latin America. These numbers can change as well, but that's the idea, to have something like this so we can actually show that we are from emerging markets, and emerging markets are these three continents that we are focusing right now. So yeah, we are not just kind of saying emerging markets, but we are actually trying to bridge all these emerging markets. So yeah, more support for the startups as well. This no, next week we are going to announce something really interesting about the investments for startups. So that's something that's what I can say now. That's the spoiler right now. um, so yeah, if you are a founder, I think that this is your ecosystem. Something as well that I noticed that is already in some conversation that is really good is that we are living this, I don't know how to call it, maybe chains fight, chains hell, right? Like, oh, if you are part of List, then you cannot be part of Base, so you cannot be part of Cello. And we are shifting this mindset as well, and and that's not what we want. That's also part of this feedback, part of everything that we have here, part of the founders that I even interacted with, because at the end of the day, we want you as a founder and we want you to be successful. And sometimes if you are successful doesn't mean that you're only mine, right? So that freedom of okay, you're here, you can come for the support, you can be a serious founder, you can solve something that is changing the world. And if you need base liquidity, if you need word chain identity, if you need Celo community, and if you need Lisk mentor, something like that, I think that will make you a successful founder. And at the end of the day, that's what we want: successful founders, and not only Lisk
Yeah.
exclusivity apps, for example, right? So I think that's something really good as well that we have been talking with everyone in on the ground in Africa. I think this trip in Argentina, spending 1 month with people there, will also give us feedback, will give us different things. And then one of the most exciting things I will make sure that this improves a little bit is maybe telling more the success stories that we have at Lisk. Like me being in Africa now this month and understanding everything that we are doing, how we are literally changing lives with supporting some projects, is something that someone sometimes people don't know. Like, oh yeah, Lisk, I hear that they support founders, right? But then when you hear, cannot give much details about this yet, but for example, we are supporting a startup, right? And then this startup is actually having a ton of like 5,000 farmers that are part of this startup that he's helping to connect with logistics and helping to connect with other buyers. And then when you understand, wow, so we have a startup that is already part of the Lisk
Yeah.
ecosystem that has 5,000 farmers, that we are changing the life of 5,000 farmers because now they have access to sell their products to more people, right? So then when we have this, we need to share this. That's something that I noticed, that now this startup is not alone, but at least me personally, I really want to showcase this, because sometimes people notice that yeah, Ethereum is a fancy tech, is really nice, is really useful, identity, CK, privacy, whatever. But sometimes people don't notice that we can actually change the world with Ethereum. We can actually have a real impact in this case, in these 5,000 farmers. So that's something that I really want to show. Soon I will share more about this, but I noticed that this is already happening. That we are already changing lives in Nigeria, in Rwanda, in Kenya,
Yeah.
and also in Colombia. That's something that I just like figure out in the past few days. So yeah, I feel that maybe sharing a little bit more about this can also resonate more with the people, can also understand like, wow, these guys are actually doing something that is changing the world, that is finding more use cases for Ethereum. That was also part of the outcomes and realization that came through this Africa tour. Thank you, Danny.
Wow. Wow. Thank you very much for sharing that. So, guys, I mean, you've heard it. They've given us a little bit of a spoiler of what is coming both next week and other things that are coming in the closest future. So, you now have to start positioning yourself, start putting yourself in the right place, and be on the lookout for what is going on. Socials is a good time to follow Leaks HQ and Leaks Africa updates. So yeah, very quickly, Gifty, I definitely you have something to say with all of this. We were never there on the ground with Lisk, so what do we have to tell these guys? Then what do we have to tell them? We missed all of the eating of the meat
All right.
and all of that experience. That meat is very important. That one is painful, but yes, over to you first. We'll get to that.
Okay. Speaking. I swear I think there's always time for another opportunity. We've all seen what came we've already seen like the result of what happened at the on the ground in League. Most definitely as the community, as the ecosystem, we are actively and we're eagerly waiting to know what happens next. That's one of the reasons why we are having this call right now, and I'm pretty sure that everybody listening is already preparing to what comes next. You guys understand? The only thing I want to say is this was to me this was like one of the best things Leaks have done to really embody the human layer. This to show that we want to support. We are not just carrying a name, but we are really showing support to to those who are in the ecosystem, both the builders for the Web3 concept in this room, and you could see one of the product of Leaks present at the event, and they are like live interaction.
It's all right. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing. So, human layer, very, very important. That's what Lix is focused on. And I think that's one of the things that makes the Lix ecosystem really, really beautiful for me, and I believe for a whole lot of persons as well. So, yeah, generally, this call has been very pivotal too, because I know there are a lot of I know that there are a lot of persons on this call who first they might not have really heard anything about what has been going on in the ecosystem. So this becomes very important. So if you build on the core, I mean, you heard Santiago mention last year the persons who were just in the incubation programs, and then when he came back this year, they already founders that have already secured support from the list ecosystem. So I mean, if you have a solution, you have an idea that you know can have a lot of impact, because impact is very, very important. As much as we want to build something, everybody wants to build something, but then the impact of what you are building is so important. How much impact will you have? If you have an idea like that, I mean, you have an opportunity to really um, deep dive into that and have the whole Leaks ecosystem support you through your whole journey, and of course, really come out with a lot of results. So this is your time. It happened for a lot of founders 1 year back. So if you begin now, there's a high chance that by this time next, I mean, with the other um, incubation programs and training hubs that Leaks is partnering with. So if you begin your journey now, it means that by this time next year, there's a high chance that when Santiago is coming back to Africa, he's going to see you already as a founder, no longer is somebody still going through all of the training and all of that. So I mean, this is very important to highlight that. So just before we wrap up the call, I would have said if anybody has, if you have any question, you can just drop in the comment section. But just before we wrap up the call, any other thing we have to say, Juju Boy, Santiago, anything you have to say generally about the List ecosystem on the ground, anything that you have to share around that just before we leave the course. Juju Boy, then Santiago, and then we wrap up the call, and that'll be for this. Yeah. Over to you, Juju Boy.
All right. Thank you, Danny. I just wanted to point out that a lot of people know this, but for those who don't know, Lisk is part of the OP super chain. So it's based with the OP stack. What this means is that we are, to say the least, we are chain agnostic. So if you're layer two building on the EVM, if you're layer two, if you're building anything um, on a layer two, right? You're welcome to um, you're welcome to build on Lisk. We do not we're not exactly looking for exclusivity. What we want is to see founders thrive, right? So all these chain wars you see on Twitter, people, antagonizing one chain over the other or prefer. I mean, you can have your preference for a lot of reasons, for different reasons, but um, I would say if you are building on the OP super chain, just build on one chain and then deploy everywhere else. So your product can be on base and still be on Lisk at the same time. No worries. You can be building um, on OP chain and still be on list. We don't have a problem with that. The whole point of being layer twos and being scaling solutions is to be able to take to abstract the processing process out of Ethereum, right? So we are all of these blockchains are all working together, regardless of what people like to say on Twitter. All of these blockchains are all working together to do one thing, to make it easier for apps to run on Ethereum. So build on the super chain, build on Lisk, deploy everywhere else. Ciao.
Yeah, thank you very much. Santiago, over to you.
Um, I will say that you can expect from us really trying to help founders to succeed. Um, Please always reach out to us with feedback. That's something that I personally really appreciate. Maybe a little tip on communication for most of the people that spam in Twitter is just never say hi or just never say how are you. If you need something, just say hi and then go straight to the point so people reply. So that will be useful for better effective communication. And then you can also expect from us to somehow find a bridge between Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America, and also being just more public with everything that we are building, so you will understand like, wow, these guys are really changing the world. So I feel really proud of being at Lisk, for this reason. When I start sharing everything as much as I can share, you will understand like, wow, these guys are actually doing something, because that's something that I noticed before. People are building fancy tech, people are building bridges, people are building liquidity pools, and that's great. The innovation is amazing, but when this type of innovation can connect to changing lives, to improving lives, to change the life of a farmer, that's where I feel like, wow, this is actually having future and having real use cases. So yeah, we'll start seeing some of this soon. Thank you, Danny, for setting all of this.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, we have all of the feedback. We also got a comment, log which I'm just going to read what it said. Witness all of all Santiago is saying on the ground. I got to listen to real stories from founders themselves. I think the main attraction point for leaks is that they're intentional and builders can actually see and relate. Anyone who has a dream just needs someone to hold their hands, and that is what does for you. I've interacted with builders from different ecosystems, and I'm not even biased in this opinion. So, um, yes, I believe that with all of these things you've heard and seen, it's very important that you stay on the lookout. And like I said again, you have to stay on the lookout so that you not say you were caught unawares or you did not expect this to happen. Leaks is building something amazing, very amazing structure and systems. Definitely should be on the lookout for it. I mean, personally, I look forward to where these collaborations will even be more um, um, will be more visible, not just within or inside of chains, but also chain and chain coming together to collaborate and really do something very impactful, changing the world and all of that. So I believe that should be the ultimate goal for the whole ecosystem, the whole Ethereum ecosystem, where chains are now having this on the ground with all of this Ethereum ecosystem, and we are building against it now ourselves and looking at how we can really make real impact. So yeah, Gifty, do you have anything more to say just before we wrap it up for this call? Gifty, anything, or should we go ahead to wrap up the call?
So just to wrap it up, this is so you don't take risks. Come on to leagues. We welcome everybody to compete on leagues. Whether you are in Africa, in America, come meet leagues. And yeah, that's like it's as simple as that. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, so thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for joining in. So once again, if you join this call, make sure to screenshot your view now before the call ends, and you see the pin post on my profile. Go ahead to share your own view there. You can either put it and share, or just drop it as a comment. Make sure if you haven't followed List HQ and List Africa, you do that. And of course, this List founder spotlight will still be happening again, and you get all of the updates when the next one is happening. You can give your suggestions and drop your feedback. Very important. We need it. We love it. So thank you very much. Keep building on Leaks, and yeah, Leaks loves you. I mean, I can say that for Leaks, right? Leaks loves you. Yeah. Bye, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Gifted. Thank you, Gigi Boy. See you guys.